Africa, and thank you for joining us. You are watching the news on African Free Press Television. My name is Bridget Okudili, and these are the news updates. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has suspended all actions concerning the Rivers rerun polls in all other constituencies pending the receipt of a comprehensive report from its field officials and monitors. In a statement late on Sunday, INEC said the suspension does not affect constituencies where the exercise has been completed and the results declared by the returning officers. INEC's director in charge of voter education and publicity, Oluwale Osaze Uzi, said there were serious level of threats, violence and intimidation of election officials and voters by well-armed thugs and miscreants allegedly acting on behalf of some politicians, which marred the elections in some areas. There were reports of numerous attacks resulting in fatalities, kidnappings, ballot snatching, diversion of officials and materials, amongst others, which necessitated its suspension in 8 local government areas. And still in line, INEC had earlier suspended election in 8 local government areas of the state. Addressing reporters earlier on Sunday, the Resident Electoral Commission, Mr. Enyedi Ikwawak, said that the cancellation was due to irregularities at the affected local government areas. Election held in Eche and Asari Toru local government areas were the latest to be cancelled. In a press statement, the INEC said that further to earlier pronouncements on the suspension of the rerun in the 6 local government areas of Kana, Boni, Gokana, Andoni, Tai and Eleme following disturbances and violence that impeded the electoral process in those parts of the state, it was necessary to suspend elections in Eche and Asari Toru local government areas for the same reason. Troops of 25 Task Force Brigade ambushed and killed a Boko Haram terrorist suicide bomber at Kumala and Musafari villages general area last night, effectively saving lives and properties of innocent citizens. The troops, who on receipt of information laid an ambush for the terrorists at suspected Boko Haram terrorist crossing points, engaging the terrorist, who was obviously on suicide mission from Sambisa general area. The bomber paid the price of his wicked activities as he was dealt with decisively. The troops recovered a motorcycle, 12 primed improvised explosive devices, and a handbag containing personal effects, which included a hijab, obviously meant for disguise and concealment of explosives for the intended nefarious acts. The morale of troops remained high as they continue to mop up all surviving terrorists. Fresh facts are now emerging on why the federal government last week withdrew the charges against Mr. Godsday Urubebe, a former minister in charge of the Ministry of Niger Delta under the Goodluck Jonathan administration, who was arraigned before the Code of Conduct Tribunal (CCT) on allegations of false declaration of assets. Sources confirmed that the decision to withdraw the charges was based on a legal advice from the Ministry of Justice, in which it was strongly canvassed that the case against Urubebe, as presently constructed and filed, was fundamentally defective. The legal advice from the Ministry of Justice was to the effect that since Urubebe was not invited to make a statement on the allegations against him, the process of arraignment was fundamentally flawed. The former Nigerian Minister of Petroleum Resources, Mrs. Yeziani Alison Madueke, has vehemently denied stories that her sister has a kid for former President Goodluck Jonathan. She debunked this story while responding to questions from the CEO of Ovation magazine, Mr. Dele Momodu. Mrs. Madueke strongly noted that it is totally untrue, as she has no such sister or relative. She wondered how people could fabricate such blatant lies. The former Nigerian petroleum boss is currently undergoing extensive cancer treatment in London. Elections have taken place in 5 African countries, while Senegal held a referendum on reducing presidential terms. A presidential runoff went ahead of Niger, even though the opposition candidate was in a French hospital. Congo Brazzaville has cut all telecommunications for 2 days to prevent illegal publication of results of its presidential election. Elections were also held in Benin, Cape Verde and Zanzibar. And still on the foreign scene, 2 pieces of debris found in Mozambique, which may have come from missing Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, have arrived in Australia for analysis. One item was found on a sandbank by an amateur U.S. investigator in late February and the other in December by a South African tourist. MH370 disappeared in March 2014 en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing carrying 239 passengers. Despite a huge search, only one fragment of the plane has been found. The Australian Transport Safety Bureau ATSB confirmed to the BBC that they had received the debris from Mozambique on Sunday and were working with the Malaysian investigative team to analyze it. Malaysia's transport minister has previously said there is a high possibility the debris found in February came from a Boeing 777, the same model as missing Malaysian Airlines flight MH370. Australia is leading the search for the plane as it is suspected to have gone down in waters closest to the country. Specialists from Boeing are assisting in the analysis work. President Barack Obama has arrived in Cuba for a historic visit to the island and talks with its communist leader. He is the first sitting U.S. president to visit since the 1959 revolution, which heralded decades of hostility. Speaking at the reopened U.S. Embassy in Havana, he called the visit historic. He also spent time in the old city. Mr. Obama will meet President Raul Castro, but not retired revolutionary leader Fidel Castro, and the pair will discuss trade and political reform. The U.S. President emerged smiling from Air Force One with First Lady Michelle and their daughters Sasha and Malia. Holding umbrellas, the party walked in light drizzle along a red carpet to be greeted by Cuban Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez. 2 hours after landing, Mr. Obama greeted staff from the U.S. Embassy with the words, "It is wonderful to be here." And for more stories, please log on to our website at www.africanfreepress.com. Like our Facebook page at African Free Press. Follow us on Twitter at African Free Press. Don't forget to join in our discussions at African Free Press Forum and subscribe to our YouTube channel at African Free Press. My name is Bridget Okudili. Do have a good day.